Just in time for some birthday summons. But should you summon for the new PHY Daima Super Saiyan 3 Goku? How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We got another Dokkan Battle video for you here today. We have the brand new PHY Daima Mini Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and in this video we are going to break down whether or not you should summon for this character. This is the last bait banner before GDC, and I know it's big question on everybody's mind. So, as always, in order to answer that question, we're going to look at three major things. Number one, we're going to take a look at the unit itself. Is the unit good enough to drive your summons, right? And then, of course, units don't exist in a vacuum. We'll take a look at their banner, see what could be on the banner, and determine whether or not that holds any value. And then finally, we will take a look at what lies ahead. Should you decide to summon on this banner, what are you giving up in the near future? So let's go ahead and start by taking a look at the unit. He is Super PHY. He leads Dragon Ball Seekers, Mastered Evolution, and Transformation Boost for HP 200% and Attack Defense 170, with an additional 50% for Daima and Power Beyond Super Saiyans. Actually, a pretty great leader skill, all things considered. He does have an entrance animation that activates with 3 or more Seekers or Mastered Evolution allies on the team. Very easy to do with the Mastered Evolution and Seekers because most of the Daima characters that you're going to be using are on these categories. It does give him 300% attack and defense, guard, and an additional super attack for 5 turns. He has key 3, attack defense 300%, changes key spheres AGL to rainbow, and chance to perform a critical hit, and chance evading enemies' attack and damage reduction rate 33%. When you have 6 or more superclass allies on the team, you have an additional super attack and survive KO once per turn. Now, to make up for that, you also have 3 turns in the initial start of the phase where you get 33% extra damage reduction before attacking. When activating his active skill or attacking with 12 or more key, he gets 333% attack, recovers 3% HP when 1 HP or less, and once only recovers 30 HP when 30% HP when 1% or less. Now, basically what that means is, right, if you proc his survive KO mechanic, he will recover when he attacks next, right? So, for example, if you stuck him in slot 1 and he took a super and procced his survive KO, not only does he have an increased chance to evade when receiving an attack, he also will likely begin recovering as soon as he starts attacking, which is very, very helpful for units with that survive KO mechanic. When receiving an attack with 12 or more key, he gets 333% defense and chance of evading enemies' attack 33% when HP is 33% or less, right? So if you fall below this and trigger this recovery, you're also triggering the 33% or less, giving you a 66% chance to evade, which is pretty helpful. On top of that, for every key sphere obtained, he gets an additional 10% crit, and that's going to come into play here in a second when we talk about his EX Super. He does have an active skill that can be activated when there is a demonic power ally attacking in the same turn or starting from the 5th turn. Now, obviously, this is very easy with demonic power. Basically, Glorio, Nahare, or Mini Super Saiyan 4 Goku would cover that, or Goma if you're running Goma on the team. So honestly, or any Gohan really would cover this as well. He's on a few of the teams where you could run Beast, for example. So that's an easy trigger. It will raise his attack by 1,333% temporarily, cause ultimate damage, recover 30% HP, and give a 3-turn buff to Seekers, Mastered Evolution, defense 30%. So pretty good active skill. The damage it's going to cause on top of the heal and the buff, very, very good. Okay, so he does have an EX Super, right, which will activate when he is the first attacker in... Not when he's in the first attacker. When his first attack within the turn is a super attack and it crits, it will proc, and it has a 60% chance to proc if it is a super, if it is the EX Super. Now, if he triggers the EX Super, he will massively raise his attack for the turn, raising defense and causing ultimate damage to the enemy with, I think there is a secondary effect for allies. Let me pull it up here. Here it is. Secondary effects gives guaranteed crit for your allies for 1 turn. So why is this important? Because of that survive KO mechanic. If you're using, he is designed for short fights. So if you stick him in slot 1, you proc his EX Super, you get 100% crit for the turn, and now your Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku, for example, has 100% crit and is very likely going to be able to more than likely trigger his EX Super. So it's a very helpful skill for sure if it procs, not just for the massively raise, which will allow him to deal more damage. So honestly, pretty good there. If you don't proc the super, right, he's still got a pretty decent, where is it here? If you don't proc the EX Super, he's still got a pretty decent super attack effects, right? Greatly raising attack and raising defense for 1 turn. Still pretty good for standard TUR stuff. So all in all, in a vacuum, he's a pretty good TUR. I would say he's definitely worth the summon if you have the Daima team to utilize him effectively. Because again, his main focus is going to be buffing up that mini Super Saiyan 4 Goku and the STR LR Super Saiyan 4 adult Goku. That's going to be his main function. Although the added defense from his active skill also benefits Fizz Mini Vegeta and Tech LR Vegeta as well. So, I mean, it's really just good all around for the Daima team. He, I think, is kind of the last piece the full Daima team needed to run effectively. I imagine on this team you're still running Goma as well, right, for that demonic power ally, so that does help. On top of that, just having that giant form for the team is helpful. So if you have the units to run a full Daima team, then he is an excellent addition to the team, I would say. So he gets the stamp for summon for the unit itself, right? As a unit, he is an excellent unit. I'm going to put him up there, right? Just on the details. Obviously, we need to do some more testing, but from what I can tell, based on his potential defense, his offense, and what he's providing to the Daima team, I kind of do feel like he's up there with maybe not quite Metal Cooler level, but he's close to, you know, God Goku and Deborah levels, in my opinion. So with that said, of course, he's not by himself, right? He's going to be on a banner, and that banner is going to have other characters on it, right? So the first other character we know that is going to be on his banner is, of course, the Nahare. Great banner unit, good summon if you do manage to pull him. Does support the Goku. I mean, supports the entire Daima team in general. Having different key effects depending on his attacking position at the start of the turn, which can help certain allies, right? Changing if he comes in as the first attacker because you floated him, now your Daima adult Goku has some SDR orbs. If he comes in as the second attacker because you had him in slot 1 or it's the first turn, now you've got Tech Key Spheres for Daima Vegeta, right? If he comes in for the Fizz Key Spheres, now you've got Fizz Key Spheres to increase the crit on Super Saiyan 3 Mini Goku. So honestly, like it's just all around good help plus support. Honestly, he's not that bad. He's probably not the best banner unit we've got, but for his function in the Daima team, I think he is pretty good. Now, of course, right, he's going to return some other units on this banner as well. And assuming we follow trend, Nappa and Vegeta should return on this banner, right? Because if we look at the Metal Cooler banner, right, that didn't have any returning units. So that was our previous, this is when Nappa and Vegeta should have returned. Or actually, this is when Deborah should have returned, but they pushed Deborah to the TDC banner, right? So it's very likely that since Deborah showed up on TDC, Nappa and Vegeta should show up on this banner. They could push them off and wait till October. That's entirely possible, but theoretically they should be on this banner. As far as the rest of the banner goes, right, most of the returning units are probably going to be Daima Vegeta, or not Daima Vegeta, but maybe Daima Goku, maybe Glorio. Maybe if we're real lucky, they'll throw Tech Daima Goku on there if they really want to bait some people. That would be a really good idea to put him on the banner. So I can imagine one of these. I don't imagine Daima Vegeta because, like I said, he was just on the Metal Cooler banner. So imagine these guys being on the banner. It is going to be a 10 featured unit banner, pretty standard for these TUR banners, right? Like if we look at Yes, right. 10 featured units here. So that is what I expect here. The other remaining units on the banner are, of course, going to be the 2 EZAs that they just announced, the Super Saiyan 3 Goku and the Anti-Rudigarn are very likely going to be on the banner, which is actually a good thing if they both show up on the banner because, right, they are a dual Dokkan Fest. And so having them both show up on a banner, honestly, isn't the worst thing in the world. So, I mean, kudos to them if they decide to do it. So that'll be helpful. So honestly, it's not a terrible banner. It's not the worst August banner we've ever had if we get it. Now, obviously, that could change. They could drop the Vegeta and Nappa, and they could not return any of the helpful Daima units, and it would just be a really crappy banner. But regardless, while the banner is good, it's more so the timing of the banner, and we'll get in to this in our third point here. So there isn't really anyone of value they could possibly put on the banner aside from Mini Goku that is an absolute must summon. And even then, right, if you've made it this far throughout the year without Mini Super Saiyan 4 Goku, I'd say you're probably fine to continue on not having him. So that's a no for the banner, unfortunately, right? Like even with Mini Super Saiyan 4 Goku, even with the 2 EZAs on there, I don't really think it's that valuable of a banner. To add to that, right? So we've got 1 for the unit, we've got none for the banner. So the last question is, what lies ahead? What are we giving up in the near future if we decide to summon on this banner? Well, first off, the very next thing we're going to be seeing in Dokkan is going to be the Peppy Gals banner. This should come about halfway through August, right? Maybe about a week or week and a half before the start of GDC. And it's probably, it'll look something like this, right? You'll get 3 times discounted 30 stone multis for a new Peppy Gals unit. I imagine we're going to see a couple different ones this time. It'd be really cool if we get another DB Saga Peppy Gals. This is typically where we tend to get them within these banners. I would almost bet though, since we are getting a Seekers, we will see maybe LR Bulma added to a featured unit on this banner. I could imagine her EZAing during this celebration. She was featured on the upcoming announcement for GDC, for example, so it's very possible. I wouldn't get too far hopes up, right? But if we actually pull up the Peppy Gals category here, the 2 EZAs that are guaranteed to be on the banner, though, where are they? They dropped with Roshi, I believe. So should be 18 and Mamba here should be the next set to EZA. So they're not really going to have any crazy positions, right? 18. I mean, I guess you have Android 16's team, which is still kind of usable on certain fights. Mamba, I mean, not really going to be anything crazy. She doesn't have many. Yeah, she's not on any useful categories that you'd be able to use except maybe mission execution. So yeah, I mean, it's not going to be anything too crazy. So with that, I mean, it's not nothing you should really worry about in terms of banners, which brings us to the next big thing, right? So we got Peppy Gals, and then we're going to lead straight into the next big thing, right? We know that the Global Dokkan campaign has been shifted to begin around September, which was the old worldwide celebration time frame, right? We switched back to the old schedule with TDC, ergo Tanabata, being back in July, and now GDC worldwide campaign shifting back into September. So that's going to be the next big major thing. And honestly, this is where, aside from anniversary, you should have been saving your stones all year long for. This is it. This is the big hurrah. They are tying this, not necessarily as Global's anniversary, but I mean, it's going to be celebrated as such, as well as the 400 million download celebration they already mentioned. It's going to be big. I wouldn't be surprised to see 3 LRs in part 1 and 3 LRs in part 2, like the 10th anniversary. 400 million is a big milestone, and I imagine them wanting to go all out. But just to give you an idea of what you're giving up is potential access to is units like Blue Goku, units like Omega Shenron, units like Gogeta, units like Rose. This was the level of LR we got at GDC last year, right? You know, 2 of which of these units are arguably some of the best aging LRs, right? We've seen in some time, right, being still usable nearly like top level usable nearly a year later, which doesn't happen very often. So right? If you summon on this banner, as cool as Daima Super Saiyan 3 Goku is going to be, like, you're giving up access to something like this. And remember, right, with these banners, you got 2,500 coin pity, 2,500 coin pity here across 4 banners potentially, and you don't want to give up stones access to that because that's going to be a lot. It's a lot of stones you're going to give, right? The whole celebration is going to give like 1,300 stones, maybe more, but you know, you got to walk in with at least 1,000 if you want to come anywhere close to pitying one of these units. So it is why I can't recommend summoning on anything prior to this, because you are potentially giving up for that. So that's no for what lies ahead. GDC is next, boys. This is the big game. This is what we've been waiting for. So that's 1 in the category for the unit, none in the category for what lies ahead, and none in the category for the banner itself. I don't find the banner to be terribly useful. So before I give my final recommendation, it is worth noting that, of course, there will be pity. It'll be your standard 200 coin pity, as there usually is for TURs, and of course 150 coins for the banner unit if you happen to not pick up Nahare. So, you know, if you're a low to play player, I wouldn't go beyond pity. I hope you don't have to reach pity, but sometimes you can get pity in a reasonable amount depending on how many extra SSRs you pull, but I don't recommend you do that. If you're free to play, low to play, or if you're low to play, pay to play, there will be, of course, purchasable Dokkan tickets, although I have found since pity has been introduced, it is better to just do the stones. It's cheaper in the long run to just buy more stones than it is to buy tickets and stones. So I would honestly say that if you are pay to play, low to play, just skip out on the tickets and do a multi or 2. Of course, you will have your free summons with your Dokkan Day Seriously Serious Battle tickets, so make sure you use those up. Maybe you'll get a free summon, maybe somebody will pull the Goku on the free tickets. That's always nice to see, but otherwise, I don't really recommend anybody summon. I can't even tier the summon on this one, right? This is so close to GDC that I don't think it's fair to say, yeah, hey, go ahead and spend your stones. It's very much the same, I feel, as Metal Cooler. Even though in hindsight, Metal Cooler ended up being one of the most valuable TURs to date, it's still, right, within the time frame, it's hard to say that you should summon on a banner right before one of the biggest celebrations of the year. So I'm going to stick with that recommendation, even if Goku turns out to be far more valuable. I'm going to stick with that recommendation. That being said, if you like the character and it's a, you know, you have a good reason to summon, then by all means, please, you know, summon for what you enjoy. But if you're looking for an honest to goodness assessment, that is my assessment. Please don't summon. Save your save your stones for GDC in just under a month. So guys, that's it for the video. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let us know, will you be summoning for Daima Super Saiyan 3 Mini Goku? I know I will, right? It's a little bit early, but this is the closest banner to birthday summons for me. So we're doing birthday summons for Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So I will be excited. Make sure you guys tune in for that when he drops. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching and aloha.